Good morning, guys. We're going to be looking at TEKS 9C. So TEKS 9C, writing exponential equations. So remember, an exponential equations looks like y equals ab to the x power, where a is the y-intercept and b is the growth/decay rate. So think of it almost like the rate of change, like in linear equations. So I'm going to go through this worksheet with you guys. I'm going to do some problems together, and then some problems I'm going to leave to do on your own. So this is writing exponential functions from a table, and we're solving a riddle. So the riddle that we're going to try to solve at the end is, why did the horse chew with his mouth open? Okay, so let's look at number 1. So number 1, we have our table here. So the first thing we need to find is the y-intercept. And remember that the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So that's what we need to find. So x is equal to 0 when y is 1. And remember, our y-intercept is our a value. So this is going to be a. Okay. Now what we need to do is find the change in y. So let me change my colors real quick. So the change in y is going to be our b value. So what I mean by change is we need to first see if, looking down the y's, if the values are going up or if they're going down. So we can determine if it's a growth or decay. So if I look from 1/9 right here at the top to 9 at the bottom, it looks like it's going up. So this is a growth. So we know that b is going to be greater than 1. And we just need to find what that growth is. So what number can you multiply? Let's start right here. What number can you multiply 1 by to get 3? The answer is 3. Same with here. 3 times 3 gives us 9. So if we look through the whole table, we know that the change in y, or the growth, is by 3. So 3 is our b value. So in order to write our equation, we write a first. So we know a is 1, so 1. And then b goes second, so parentheses 3 to the x power. So since our y-intercept is 1, we don't really need it there. So I could just erase it, and this could just be 3 to the x power, because that 1 does nothing being there. So that's our answer for number 1. Okay, let's do the same thing for number 2. We're first going to find our a value, which is the y-intercept. And we know the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0, so right here. So this is our a value. Then we're going to find the change in y. So first we need to see if it's going to be a growth or decay. So if I start right here at the top and then look all the way to the bottom, we know that this is going down. This is decaying. So since this is a decay, we know our b value has to be less than 1. So what can we multiply 9 by to get 3? Well, we know 9 divided by 3 gives us 3. But we also know that dividing by the number is the same as multiplying by 1 over that number. So this is multiplying by 1/3. 9 times 1/3 is 3. You can check that on your calculator if you like. And then if we continue going down, 3 times 1/3 is 1. 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. And 1/3 times 1/3 is 1/9. So we know that 1/3 is our decay value, which is b. So if I was to write this out, this would be our a value, so 1, and then our b value, parentheses 1/3, to the power of x. But since our y-intercept is 1, we don't really need it. So the answer is just 1/3 to the power of x. Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3, we're first going to find our a value, which is our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is right here at -2. Okay. Now we need to find our change in y and see if it's a growth or a decay. So let's skip over these fractions right here. Let's skip these because those are a little tricky. And let's just go from -2 to -6. So what number, well first, is it going up or down? So from 2 to 6 and from 6 to 18, we know it's increasing. So it has to be a growth, right? And since it's a growth, we know b is greater than 1. So what number multiplied by -2 will give us -6? That number is 3. We can test that again here. -6 times 3 gives us -18. So again, that's correct. Our growth value is 3, so that's B. And then we just need to plug it in. So remember, A goes first, and in this case, A is -2, so -2 parentheses B, which is 3, to the power of x. So in this case, our y-intercept is not 1. So I can't just get rid of that -2. That -2 has to stay there. So then our answer is -2 times 3 to the x power. So what we're doing is we're taking our table and we're turning it into an equation. Okay? I'm going to do 3 more with you, and then you guys are going to do the rest on your own. Okay, so first, let's find our a value. Remember, our a value is our y-intercept, and our y-intercept is right here, so this is a. Then we have to find b. So looking at this table, let's start here where there's not any fractions. So from -1 to -25, this looks like this is going up, so it's a growth. And this is going to be where b is greater than 1. So from -1 to -5, they're multiplying by 5. From -5 to -25, they're multiplying by 5, so that's my b value. So then I have -1 parentheses 5 to the x power. Remember, my -1 is my y-intercept, my 5 is my growth rate, and then x is just that exponent. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5, we first need to find the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is right here, so this is our a value. Then we need to find b. So let's look from 32 to 8. Is that decreasing or increasing? So since it's decreasing, this is going to be a decay. That means b is less than 1. So 32 times what will give us 8? Or 8 times what will give us 2? So we know that 32 divided by 4 will give us 8. 8 divided by 4 will give us 2. So that means that's the same as multiplying by 1/4. Multiplying by 1/4. So this is our b value. So then if I was to write my answer, I have my a, which is 2, parentheses 1/4 to the power of x. Okay, let's look at number 6. So number 6 says, okay, let's first find our a value. Okay, our a value is right here. Now let's find if this is a growth or a decay. So from 3 to 18, it's going up, so it's a growth. So that means b has to be greater than 1. So from 3 to 18, we're multiplying by 6. So 6 is our b value. So this is going to be a, which is 1/2, parentheses 6. Since that is my, let me erase this. Since that's my b value, sorry, 6 to the power of x. Okay. Now let's look at number 7. Okay. So for the next couple, you guys are going to try them on your own. So go ahead and try number 7. Okay, this is what you should have got for number 7. You should have found that the y-intercept is 1/3. And then you should have found that this is a growth. So this is a growth multiplying by 6. So your answer is 1/3 6 to the x power. Okay, go ahead and look at number 8. Okay, you should have got first the y-intercept of 8. That's our a value. And then you should have noticed that this is a growth. So it's growing by 2 each time. And that's our b value. So then this is a, which is 8, times 2, which is b to the x power. Okay, go ahead and work on number 9. For number 9, you should have found that our y-intercept is 1/6, so this is our a value. And then you should have noticed that this is a growth because 1 to 6 is getting bigger, so this is a growth of 6. So this is going to be 1/6 times 6 to the x power. Okay, go ahead and look at number 10. Okay, for number 10, you should have found that the a value is -1/3, -1/3, and that this rate is, let's see, it is a decay of 1/6 because -12 divided by 6 is -2, so it's 1/6, and this is our b value. So then this is -1/3 parentheses -1/6 to the power of x. Okay, go ahead and work on number 11. For number 11, you should have got the y-intercept of -2, so that's a. And then you should have noticed that this was a growth because from -10 to -50, it's multiplying by 5. So this is our b value. So then you should have got -2 parentheses 5 power of x. Go ahead and work on number 12. For number 12, you should have got that the y-intercept is -3, so this is your a value. And then for your b value, you should have noticed that this was growing by 8 because -3 times 8 gives you -24. So then your answer should have been -3 parentheses 8 to the power of x. Okay, go ahead and work on number 13. Okay, for number 13, you should have found that the a value or the y-intercept is -1. And then you should have found that the change in y was a decay of 1/8 because -64 divided by 8 gives you -8. So this is a decay of 1/8. So then your answer should have been -1 parentheses 1/8 to the power of x. Okay, go ahead and work on number 14. Okay, for number 14, you should have got that the y-intercept or the a value is -1/2. And then you should have found that this was, let's see, increasing by 6, so this is a growth. So then your answer should have been -1/2 parentheses 6 to the power of x. Okay, last one, go ahead and work on number 15. Okay, for number 15, you should have got that the y-intercept is -2. And then, sorry, this is your a value. And then your b value looks like it is going down, so decreasing, yep, so right here, by 1/6. So -12 divided by 6 gives you -2. So this is a decay of 1/6. So our answer is -2 parentheses 1/6 to the power of x. Okay, so those are the answers to all 15 problems. So if you go down here, you notice that the answer box has all the letters next to it. So then what we need to do now is we need to match the letter with our answers. So I'm going to see if we can just do that for these 6 first. So we know that, so we're looking for number 10. Number 10 says negative 1/3, negative 1/6x. So 2 negatives. Oh, that was my bad on number 10. Number 10 should not have been negative. I even wrote it right here, positive. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote that negative. So number 10 is A. I'm going to change my color so it's completely different than all these ones.